Hello, this is Spellbinder again with an article with current events attached to it. It was written probably back in, I'm not really sure. I haven't really done research on the committee of 300. But this came out, and according to Dr. John Coleman, there's 21 points on their agenda they want to do to us. And I try to read this thing straight through without no comment, anything. Just give you a title, tell you who wrote it, and then start reading it. It took me over 11 minutes, so I'm going to have to just pick out certain points, and whatever I have time left over, I'll pick out certain ones that go along too, but these seem to be a little more important. Let me start with number 1. To establish a one-world government, New World Order, with a unified church and monetary system under their direction. The one world government began to set up its church in the 1920s and 30s, for they realized the need for a religious belief inherited in mankind must have an outlet, and therefore set up a church body to channel that belief in the direction they desired. 2. To bring about utter destruction of all national identity and national pride, which was a primary consideration if the concept of a one-world government was to work. Example, Obama. No flags behind him anymore. Doesn't put his hand to his heart when we do the Pledge of Allegiance or anything. He's working for him. That's for sure. 3. To engineer and bring about the destruction of religion. The more especially the Christian religion, with the one exception, their own creation, as mentioned above. Jump to number 10. To weaken the moral fiber of the nation and to demoralize workers in the labor class by creating mass unemployment as jobs dwindle due to post-industrial zero-growth policies introduced by the Club of Rome. The report envisions demoralized and discouraged workers resorting to alcohol and drugs. The youth of the land will be encouraged by means of rock music and drugs to rebel against the status quo, thus undermining and eventually destroying the family unit. In this regard, the committee commissioned Stanford research to prepare a blueprint to how this could be achieved. As under the direction of Professor Willis Harman, this work later became known as the Aquarium Conspiracy. Number 11. To keep people everywhere from deciding their own destinies by means of one created crisis after another, and then managing such crisis. This will confuse and demoralize the population to the extent where, faced with too many choices, apathy on a massive scale will result. In the case of the U.S., an agency of crisis management already is in place. It's called the Federal Emergency Management Agency, FEMA. Where we heard that before? Whose existence I first enclosed in 1980. Yes, that there. They're talking about you can't decide your own destiny. If you've just seen since 2000, we've had one crisis after another, crisis after another. They're not even giving us a chance to get a breather. It's been planned. It's problem, reaction, solution. They create a problem, you get all upset and demand something, and they give you a solution that they created to begin with when they created the problem. So you won't even know you've been tricked. Number 13. To continue to build up the cult of Christian fundamentalism began by the British East India Company's servant Darby, which will be misused to strengthen the Zionist state of Israel by identifying with the Jews through the myth of God's chosen people, and by donating very substantial amounts of money to what they mistakenly believe is a religious cause and the furtherance of Christianity. Well, yeah, Jesus went out there and kill a bunch of Palestinians and kick them off their property. Yeah. Let's see. 16. To cause total collapse of the world's economies and engender total political chaos. Oh, yes. 17. To take control of all foreign and domestic policies of the U.S. That's been going on for at least since 2018. To give the fullest support to the supranationals institutions such as the United Nations, the UN, the International Monetary Fund, IMF, the Bank of International Settlements, the World Court, and as far as possible make local institutions less effective by gradually phasing them out or bringing them under the mantle of the UN. Yes, they're trying to take your local governments and do this. They're trying to get the whole country under UN and stuff, but I don't think the UN, I think the IMF is going to take over. Number 19, to penetrate and subvert all governments and work from within them to destroy their sovereign integrity of the nations represented by them. Ooh. I like how they do number 20. To organize a worldwide terrorist apparatus and to negotiate with terrorists whenever terrorist activities take place. It will be recalled that it was Bertino Krevex who persuaded the Italian and U.S. governments to negotiate with the Red Brigades, kidnapped the Prime Minister Moro and General Dozer. As an aside, Dozer was placed under strict orders not to talk what happened to him while he was kidnapped. Should he ever break that silence, he will no doubt be mad or horrible example of, in the manner in which Harry Kissinger dealt with Aldo Moro, Ali Baruto, and General Zahir. Number 21. To take control of education in America with the intent and purpose of utterly and completely destroying it. By 1993, the full force effect of this policy is becoming apparent and will be even more destructive as primary and secondary schools begin to teach OBE, or outcome-based education. Okay, I got enough time to see if there was something else here. It's a little course. The labor thing's not too bad. Number 9. I was going to cover that one if I had time. Number 9. To cause by means of limited wars in advanced countries, by means of starvation and disease in the third world countries, the death of 3 billion people by the year 2050, people they call useless eaters. The Committee of 300, Illuminati, commissioned Cyrus Vance to write a paper on this subject of how to bring about such genocide. The paper was produced under the title Global 2000 Report and was accepted and approved for action by former President James Earl Carter and Edwin Muskie, then Secretary of State, for and on behalf of the U.S. government. Under the terms of Global 2000 Report, the population of the U.S. is to be reduced by 100 million by the year 2050. I've heard it could be 200 million, maybe more, but I think that was at the population at their time. Let's see, number 7, to bring about depopulation of large cities according to the trial run carried out by the Pol Pot regime in Cambodia. It is interesting to note that Pol Pot's genocidal plans were drawn up by the U.S. by one of the Club of Rome's research foundations and overseen by Thomas Enders, a high-ranking State Department official. It is also interesting that the committee is currently seeking to reinstate Pol Pot butchers in Cambodia. Well, I got less than a minute to end this. Well, that was it. This was done by, like I said, Dr. John Coleman. He sells his book, the Illuminati. It says, order Dr. Coleman's books, including the enhanced and updated 4th edition of the Conspirators Hierarchy, the story of the Committee of 300, his news magazine, World Reviews, and 40-page. You can call him or write him, but you can look at the article up at forbiddenknowledge.com. All one word. Well, that's it for today. Like I said, this has been planned. There's nothing happening today that hasn't been planned. It's always been planned. If you ever listen to David Icke even, he'll tell you that. If you listen to, I mean, Lindsey Williams, he'll tell you this stuff is planned. There's nothing accidental. They planned this stuff for centuries, and they're now trying to pull it up and get it over with. Well, until next time, this is Spellbinder. Be prepared. Be good or be good at it. And be the ant and not the grasshopper. And be prepared to get the hell off the coast if it starts getting bad down there. If that oil fumes start coming in, that benzene will soak through your skin. It will give you cancer. You'll die in 10 years. The people working out there may die in 10 years. This is the last report I heard today. And today was, yes, the 15th was when I heard this. So take it easy. Be good. Be good at it. And until next time.